I was stirring cold coffee in my cabin, tucked deep in the pines of Blackthorn Ridge, Montana, when I heard my old K9, Rusty, bark. A sound I hadn't heard since he passed 6 months ago, sharp enough to make me grab my sidearm. Then came the knock, slow, heavy, like someone testing my nerve, and through the curtain I saw a guy in a sheriff's uniform, badge gleaming, but I knew in a heartbeat he was no cop. Not with that sloppy holster and shifty stance. I'm Clara Vance, state police commander with 25 years on the force, and this fake deputy had no idea he'd just walked into my trap. One that'd unravel a decade-old conspiracy and burn my quiet life to ash. Blackthorn Ridge is 15 miles from nowhere, no signal, no neighbors, just me, the wind, and a rule. No visitors. I'd come here to breathe, to shake the ghosts of cases and Rusty's empty leash. But that knock changed everything. The badge was real, stolen from a deputy who vanished 2 counties over, and this guy wore it like a Halloween costume, itching to ditch it once the con was done. I'm Clara, and this is how I turned a snowy night into a showdown, exposing a network of dirty cops and saving my brother, thought dead for years, all while reminding a few lowlifes never to mess with a cop who knows her ground. The cold was brutal, snow slashing sideways, the kind that makes you feel your bones before anything else. I peeked at the guy, 30s, clean-shaven, average build, but his boots were wrong, department issue but scuffed like hand-me-downs, and his holster was rigged for a righty when his left hand twitched. Amateur. He knocked again, 3 thuds, pausing like he expected me to scamper out scared. I didn't. Sidearm ready, safety off, I ran through my stash. Flare gun in the chimney, radio under the bed, knife in the bookcase. I was set. Sheriff's office, ma'am, he called, voice syrupy, fake as a telemarketer. Weather alert, checking residence. I cracked the door, wind howling, and gave him my best old lady smile, honed from years of disarming suspects. You poor thing, out in the storm, I cooed. Come warm up. He stepped in, mistake number 1. Inside I offered cocoa, cold from a pot I hadn't touched in days. He waved it off, didn't even sniff strike 2. Rusty's bark still echoed in my head. A ghost or a warning, and I watched this guy's eyes dart, not scanning for safety but hunting something. Mind if I look around? He asked, too casual, eyeing the back room. Storm protocol. I nodded, sweet as pie. Go right ahead, officer. He poked around, clueless, passing photos of me and my brother Nate in our academy blues, not recognizing us, but lingering on Rusty's picture, my K9 partner, gone a year. Old. He knelt by the fireplace, lifted a floorboard like he thought he was slick. Found nothing. I sipped cocoa, smiling. Everything okay? He stood, brushing his knees. Just fine, ma'am. Stay warm. A twig snapped outside. Sharp. No deer. He flinched barely, but enough. Someone else was out there. I had minutes, maybe, before this got messy. I moved fast, pressing a hidden tile in the kitchen while he glanced out the window. A drawer slid open, silent, revealing a transmitter from my undercover days, rigged to ping a secure satellite. If HQ was listening, help was coming. If not, I'd handle it. He caught me closing it. All good? He asked, eyes narrowing. Thought I heard Rusty again. I lied, voice shaky. Maybe I'm losing it. He chuckled, fake, and I pushed. You sure you're sheriff's office? He froze, a beat too long. Wanna see my badge again? Love to, I said, leaning in, memorizing the serial. Hit me, Deputy Tompkins, missing, case unsolved. Funny thing, I said, stepping back. That badge belonged to a friend. Good guy, loved gumdrops. Vanished last spring. His jaw tightened. Coincidence? No such thing. I shot back, hand on my gun. 10 seconds to tell me why you're here, or I stop playing nice and start playing cop. Footsteps crunched outside, his back up. I smiled. Time's up. The door swung wide. No knock, just a big guy, ex-jock gone to seed, stomping in like he owned my floorboards. Snow fell off his coat, eyes hard, but no badge, no pretense. I kept my gun steady, safety off, the click cutting the air like a blade. Easy, big guy said, hands half up. Official business. I tilted my head. Funny. I don't recall the county greenlighting 2 fakes for a break-in on my turf. Shorty, the first guy, froze, hand near his stolen holster. Look, lady. Commander. I cut in, voice ice. Or the woman you should have Googled before dressing up. Big guy's smirk faded. Shorty's sweat beaded. They weren't just thieves, they were hired, sent for something specific, and I was done guessing. Sit, I said, gun unwavering. We're having cocoa and a chat, or I kneecap one and the other sings. Pick. Shorty sat, defeated. Big guy grumbled but followed. You're not gonna believe us. Shorty muttered. Try me, I said, pouring mugs to keep them calm. We're not cops, Shorty admitted, rubbing his temples. Hired to retrieve something, big score, old guy, 50 grand to find it. I leaned in. What old guy? Describe him. Gray beard, limps, army jacket. Intense, he said. My heart skipped, but I didn't show it. Green jacket. He nodded. That wasn't a stranger, that was Nate, my brother, dead 8 years in a botched sting, or so they said. I'd buried an empty casket. Saluted lies. What's the score? I pressed. Didn't say. Big guy grunted. Thought it was drug cash. Buried by some dealer. I knew better. Nate's last case, our case, targeted crooked cops laundering dope money. We had a ledger, names, accounts, bribes hidden in code. He vanished before we could crack it. If he was alive, he'd sent these clowns to draw me out. The lights flickered, heater dying, snow piling heavy. Shorty paced. We're late reporting. He'll send worse. How late? I asked. 15 minutes. I grinned, grim. Then we move. I tossed them coats. You're with me. Or you explain to his hit squad why you're sipping cocoa in my kitchen. They didn't argue. We hit the snow, wind biting, my compass guiding us to an old ranger post Nate and I used as kids, a mile off where I bet he'd stashed the ledger. Trees loomed, black and twisted. No sound but our boots and big guy's curses. The post was a rotting shack, padlock flimsy. I popped it with my knife. And inside, a lantern flickered, a sign. On the desk sat a file, my name scrawled in Nate's hand. Photos spilled out, me in uniform, undercover, here in these woods, years of surveillance. Case files I thought burned. And a note. You're not the only one who buries truth. My chest tightened. Someone, Nate, had watched me waiting. A gunshot cracked outside. Then another closer. Down. I hissed, shoving the file in my coat. Shadows moved, 3 pros not rushing, thinking we were easy. I flung the lantern out the window, fired behind it, dropping the lead guy. Chaos erupted. Bullets tore wood. Screams split the air. I dragged Shorty and Big Guy to a crawl space, a tight hatch to the ridge. Move! We slid out, snow stinging, and ran, the file heavy against my ribs. An hour later, in a thicket, I faced them. You're pawns, I said, holding the file. This is bigger than cash. It's a ledger, names, bribes, cops, judges. Your boss wants it buried. Shorty paled. We didn't know. Big Guy scowled. Who's the old guy? Before I answered, a figure stepped from the trees. Hooded, slow, hands up. Clara, he said, voice raw, familiar. I froze, gun steady. Moonlight hit his face, Nate, scarred, older, alive. You died. I spat. They wanted me to, he said. Easier to hide. I didn't lower my aim. You let me grieve an empty grave. His eyes softened. Had to. They'd have killed us both. He nodded at the file. That's the ledger, everyone we hunted. I hid it, used you to guard it. Didn't tell you. Anger flared, but his voice cracked.
I'm tired, Claire.
You're the only one I trust to end it. Shorty gaped. Your siblings. Nate's smile was weary. Something like that. I holstered my gun. We get the ledger to safety. Now. He led us to a cave behind a waterfall, our old hideout, where a metal case held the ledger and a USB names, accounts, the whole rotten network. This could burn the state down, I said. Nate nodded. That's why they're coming. More shots rang out, scouts followed by a bigger crew. We had to move. Back at the cabin, I set the trap. Nate and I laid false tracks, rigged a flare to pop in 20-strung tripwires. Shorty and Big Guy took the ridge with radios, shaky but willing. Dawn broke, the cabin serene, but boot prints circled it. 3 watchers, plus a man in a black coat. No gun, just calm, flanked by armed pros. That's him, Nate whispered. The puppet master. I grinned. Let's cut his strings. The flare burst, guard spun, and we moved. Nate darting one, me cracking another's knee. The coat guy stood still, smiling. Commander Vance, he called, smooth. Give me the ledger. And you walk away, new life, warm beaches. I aimed at his chest. I like cold. Talk. He shrugged. You can't stop this. I nodded to Nate, who tossed the case into the snow. Fetch. Figures poured from the trees, 6 armed. Ready. Back up. Coat guy mocked. Here, I said as radios crackled. Fire. Shorty and Big Guy unleashed smoke grenades, flashbangs, chaos. Nate and I danced through it, dropping 2 more. Coat guy ducked, shouting orders no one heard. I clocked him with my guns, but let him crumple. You don't know what you're starting, he gasped. I'm finishing it, I said. The chopper came 20 minutes later, snow swirling as 6 feds in black spilled out. The lead, a silver-haired woman with no nonsense in her eyes, strode up. Commander Vance, she said. Your ping worked. I handed her the case. Joint Integrity Committee. No detours, no copies. She locked it in a satchel, gave me a receipt, and lifted off, leaving silence. Nate stood by me, blood on his sleeve, eyes distant. Now what? He asked. You vanish, new name, new life, I said. I testify, face the fallout. He paused, heavy. You don't have to. I met his gaze.
Yeah, Ido.
Shorty and Big Guy shuffled over, shell-shocked. We arrested? Big Guy asked. I smirked. Maybe a commendation if you play nice. They laughed. Nervous, alive. I burned the cabin that night. Accelerant in every corner. No trace left. Nate was gone by dawn. His note simple. Don't let them bury you. I walked away. The photo of us in uniform tucked in my coat. Rusty's bark still echoing somewhere deep. Blackthorn Ridge was quiet again, but different. Honest. Like it'd shed a lie. The ledger hit the feds. And heads rolled, cops, judges, pals, a network gutted. I didn't stay for the headlines. Some truths you carry, not flaunt. Was Nate wrong to hide? Or was the system too dirty to fight? Should I have burned the ledger instead? Ever face a lie that changed everything? Drop your story in the comments. I'm reading. Like, share. And let's keep the truth alive, one fight at a time.